How's it going, everybody? Hey, this is Reestablishing Truth, our summer devotional series. And one thing that I want to do with you right now is just rehash a couple of the videos that we've done this far. We had one video giving you tools as to what truth is. Truth is that which conforms to reality based on the character of God himself. Something can't be true if it actually is inconsistent with the very character and nature of God himself. Second video we did a video on what is not considered to be true, discerning something as a lie. Third video last week, I reminded you as a congregation, I gave you a heads up that on Sunday, July 2nd, prior to Independence Day, I'm going to be giving a sermon titled Understanding the Times. And it's going to be an address concerning where we came from as a nation, where we currently stand as a nation, and how you and I as believers can respond. I encourage you to be there. There's going to be some sensitive content in that sermon, but I encourage you, if you feel like your children are too young to hear that sensitive content, to utilize our nursery and also our children's church, our Sunday school downstairs, based on what service you come to, but to use wisdom in that. Okay, there's a lot that I want to say for this devotional, but I think there's an article that came out today that can say things much more bluntly than I can say here on a social media platform. So for protective reasons, one thing I want to do is I want to read a passage of scripture, but then show you how that passage actually connects or it bridges with an article that was written today. So if you will, look up the article yourself and then watch this video in parallel connection with it. If you go to afa.net/thestand, American Family Association.net/thestand, you'll find an article written by Dr. Michael Brown, written today, June 22nd, 2023, titled "The Tide is Turning." And I think the basic premise of this article is that there is a blessing in speaking the truth. You know, if we've been discovering what truth is and what truth is not, today's main theme is that there is a blessing from God. There's favor from the Lord when you speak things that are true. So again, you can find that afa.net/thestand, Dr. Michael Brown, June 22nd, 2023, "The Tide is Turning." There's a blessing when we speak things that are true, when we speak against things that are a lie. And in conjunction with that thought, today we have 1 Kings chapter 18. You know the story well. The biblical record gives us this account between God or Baal on Mount Carmel. 1 Kings 18 verse 20 says this: "So Ahab sent a message among all the sons of Israel and brought the prophets together at Mount Carmel. Elijah came near to all the people and said, 'How long will you hesitate between two opinions? Or how long will you hesitate between two truths? If the Lord is God, follow him, but if Baal, follow him.' But the people did not answer him a word." In other words, they sat on the fence. Then Elijah said to the people, "I alone am left a prophet of the Lord, but Baal's prophets are 450 men. Now let them give us 2 oxen, and let them choose 1 ox for themselves, and cut it up, and place it on the wood, but put no fire under it. And I will prepare the other ox, and lay it on the wood, and I will not put a fire under it. Then you call on the name of your God, and I will call on the name of the Lord, and the God who answers by fire, he is God." And all the people said, "That's a good idea." So Elijah said to the prophets of Baal, "Choose 1 ox for yourselves, and prepare it first, for you are many, and call on the name of your God, but put no fire under it." Then they took the ox which was given them, and they prepared it, and called on the name of Baal from morning until noon, saying, "O Baal, answer us." But there was no voice. In other words, no one representing what was counterfeit truth. But there was no voice, and no one answered. And they leaped about the altar which they made. They danced. It came about at noon that Elijah mocked them and said, "Call out with a loud voice, for he is a god. Either he is occupied, or gone aside, or is on a journey, or perhaps he is asleep and needs to be awakened." Other translations say, maybe he's using the latrine. Maybe he's using the bathroom. That's why he's occupied. Maybe he just doesn't care about you. So they cried with a loud voice, and they cut themselves according to their custom with swords and lances until the blood gushed out of them. When midday was past, they raved until the time of the offering of the evening sacrifice, but there was no voice, no one representing counterfeit truth. No one answered, and no one paid attention. Now, for the sake of time, I'm going to truncate the reading of the story, but essentially what happens is Elijah prays in verse 36. He says, hey, put as much water as you want on my sacrifice. I'm going to call on the God of heaven. He's going to rain fire from heaven, and he's going to show what is absolutely true, and he's going to bring blessing to the truth that I have been preaching to you. See, Elijah's job as a prophet in Israel was not merely to prophesy the coming of the Messiah. He was also considered a covenant watchdog whose job was to call out the sin of the nation when the king was leading the nation astray, when the political leaders were leading the nation into such sin that things were falling apart. Lo and behold, now we have in the economy of Israel, we have a complete drought, a complete famine. People are worshiping false gods and idols, and they're being led astray into something that's not true. In other words, the nation was a wreck because they were not following the truth, but there was a blessing for Elijah, especially as he spoke out against what is not considered to be true. So Elijah calls on the name of the Lord, and what happens? Fire falls from heaven. The prophets of Baal are seized, and truth wins out. So if you were to read this article on afa.net, there is a blessing for people who stand for the truth. In fact, if I were to just remind you of Matthew chapter 5, verses 13 through 16, it says to let your light shine before men in such a way that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. How may they glorify our Father who is in heaven? It's that they would see the light, that your neighbor would be saved from darkness. They would be transferred from the kingdom of darkness to a kingdom of light, and they would end up, or the result would be that they would glorify our Father who is in heaven. In other words, we as Christians cannot afford to sit on the fence or to sit silently with our faith in this time, in this cultural moment. There's a blessing when we speak out against darkness, and there's a blessing when we speak for truth, and we are a light to our neighbor by telling them what's correct versus what's incorrect. You know, I think we're past the days, we're far past the days of the private religious lifestyle. We're far past the days of a privatized faith. Jesus says we cannot afford to hide our light under a bushel, but we must speak forth truth. We must live in the light as he himself is in the light, 1 John chapter 1. We must be sincere, genuine, non-hypocritical Christians who love people and have a concern for their souls, not a hatred or a bigotry, but a serious concern for the souls and the lives of others, so that we're willing to say, even at the cost of ourselves, we're willing to say, this is right, this is wrong, this is true, this is counterfeit truth, and I'm going to stand for the Lord in this matter. So please read the article, stay in touch with the scriptures, be a biblical Christian who has an influence in today's world and who loves people appropriately. God bless you. Oh, just one other reminder. This coming Sunday is VBS Sunday. VBS this week has been themed by those who protect the kingdom. And I think it's a nice fit that on this coming Sunday specifically, we're going to be closing out the Sermon on the Mount where Jesus calls us to two alternatives, either to entrance and participation in God's kingdom or to continue down a road of destruction, which many in fact do. All right. God bless you. Hope you enjoyed this devotional. Hope it kind of stirred you up a little bit, that you would be those who accurately represent the Lord and are people of light, and you receive a blessing for speaking forth the truth. God bless you. Take care. See you Sunday.